Hey, this is Keena B, and welcome to Say Anything. Say anything.
Why can't you just say anything?
I'm gonna say anything.
People just say anything.
I swear, people just say anything. Welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. Hey, and welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. I am Keena B. Thank you so much for joining me. I am currently in Wimbia's Market, located in Quincy, Florida. It is a art gallery and gift market, and it was founded by myself and my husband. And so this is where I also record podcasts, which is on Spotify and YouTube. What you just saw me apply was a lip gloss by Beautiful Beauties lip gloss. It's a strawberry honey beeswax lip balm. She's a beekeeper and she makes all of her own products. So follow her on Instagram, and I believe she's also on Facebook. She has a website. It is BEE-U as in YOU TIFUL, beautiful beauties, and that is the product chart. She has a lot of things. She's an apothecary expert. So today we are going to be talking about online dating. I get this question a lot, and mainly it's because my husband and I met online, and I'm on live on YouTube, and I am recording for Spotify. So if you see my eyes look up, it's just because I am looking at two different video cameras. But I wanted to talk about this because I get the question a lot. One, how my husband and I met, because he is of Zambian descent. And two, I think there's just a curiosity when it comes to people meeting online. Back in the day, 2008, it was not the most popular thing to do. It was just beginning. It was like the age of singles meet. I don't even remember all those apps. It was like so many different apps were coming out, but people were still like really sketchy about meeting people online. It wasn't the most popular thing to do, and individuals were more than likely intimidated by the process because they would literally have to fill out all these different questions, and it was like this online matchmaking basically. But it was still in its infancy, whereas now it has graduated to all different types of apps and platforms that people use in order to find the love of their life or the love of the moment, depending on what they're looking for. I found the love of my life. My husband, Charles, was in South Africa at the time that we actually met online. And the website that we used was some obscure site. It wasn't even it wasn't a popular site, okay? It was an obscure site. And we knew exactly what we were looking for though. Like, I needed someone, because I'm not a small girl, and I've never been a small girl. I needed someone who would want to date someone who was of my size, and was okay with weight fluctuations, whether I gained or whether I lost. And he preferred women who look like me. So, including, you just have to start there, find the person that you have a preference for, but don't let that be the only thing that guides you. Okay, so it's like, what's the quickest way to tell this story? We met online. And we've been married 16 years. This was our 16th year. We met in 2008 online. Actually, it was around March that we started messaging each other. And then around April, we were like a month of just messaging each other. And then we graduated to emails, messaging each other through the site itself. And then we graduated to emails, and then emails graduated to telephone, and we even sent letters. Snail mail still worked. And I am a fan of snail mail. I'm a fan of writing things down on paper, seeing how people's handwriting is, exchanging photographs the old-fashioned way. And so that's what we did. We exchanged information and got to know each other slowly yet fast at the same time. And then he got a work visa. He was over in the United States working for an organization, a nonprofit organization in New York for a little while. And while he was here, he came and he visited me. He came down to Florida where I lived at the time, and he visited me and he met my entire family. It just so happened that the week that he visited me, we were having a family reunion, and he came down on Greyhound. This is when Greyhound was really big. So he came from New York down to Florida on the Greyhound bus, and he met me and my entire family, and he spent about a week. I want to say about a week. It was more than 2-3 days. It was a while. And then he went back up to New York, and he continued working, and we continued corresponding via email and text, and we were talking a lot more at that point on the phone. And probably about 2 months after he came to visit, we decided to get married. And then we were married in February of 2009. So it was pretty fast courtship compared to others, but also we met in March online, we married in February. So it was almost a year before we actually tied the knot. I do believe that in the saying that when you find the right one, it doesn't really take a lot to know. Particularly, now, one thing that needs to be acknowledged is that we were older. We were not young. I was 28, 29. He was 33, 32, 33, something like that. There's a 5-year age range between us. I had already been through undergrad and graduate school and had worked a few jobs. He also had been through his initial schooling, although he went back to school once he came back to the US. And he had also worked for over a decade as well, off and on. So we were adults who found each other online. We weren't young 20-somethings figuring it out. We were later in life and had different experiences and had dated other people. And we knew the type of questions that needed to be asked in order to get to the real meat of what it meant to be in a relationship. We knew to ask the values questions, character questions, religion questions, children questions. We asked all the important questions. Did we miss some? Yes, because it's kind of hard to get to every single thing. But we got through a lot, and so we had the same characteristics that we valued the same things when it came to relationships. And that is important because we get the question a lot, like, does it work? and how were you able to make it work. We weren't looking for temporary love. First of all, if you are looking for temporary, why are you matching with someone who's looking for long term? That's crazy. Don't, if someone tells you that they don't want to date long term, or they're not looking for marriage and you're looking for marriage, you should not be enamored with them. You should immediately, I don't care what butterflies you're feeling, you should immediately stop, because you're not looking for the same thing, and they're telling you you're not looking for the same thing. If someone tells you they don't want children and you want children, then you need to stop, because again, you're not looking for the same things. And so I think a lot of times the reason people are unlucky in relationships, this is just from my humble opinion, okay? You take it for a grain of salt, right? A lot of times it's strictly, you are ignoring the answers that people are giving you. You have this characteristic, you have the morality, you have whatever value system that you have in place for yourself. And then you get enamored with someone, either because of their looks, or because of their career, or because of their education, or because of where they live, or because of their accent. Exterior, superficial things, right? You get enamored, you feel these butterflies, and you allow the idea of butterflies and the idea of this feeling to overwrite the idea of what you said that you wanted. Now, if you say that you want something, then stop making excuses when the person that you're feeling all these butterflies for doesn't meet that standard. You're going to end up breaking up. They're not changing their mind. If they said they didn't want kids when you first met them, 5 years later, more than likely, they're not going to want kids. And every now and then you'll see these movies where they always show the exception and not the rule. The rule is whatever a person says they are, that is what they are. And you're supposed to believe them. Maya Angelou said it best. When people tell you who they are, believe them the first time, okay? Because ultimately, people are, especially if they're being honest. If they're being honest, believe them. Because people always go back to what is comfort to them. And if they say they don't want kids, then they don't want kids, hon. They don't want them. And it doesn't matter if it's a male or a female in the relationship. If they say they don't want them, they don't want them. Don't think, oh, they'll change their mind in 5 years, 10 years, 6 years, whatever the case may be, because they're going to love me just that much to change their mind. They're not going to change their mind. They're not going to change their mind. And I'm just using that as an example. What's another example? People will say that like religion is a big deal to them. They'll say, okay, hey, I want a person who is of this faith to raise my child with. And then the moment they get enamored with someone, they're like, oh, well, he or she doesn't believe what I believe, but that's okay, because we have the same moral compass. We still have the same moral base. Then the question is, are you going to have a conversation about how you want to raise your potential children in the future? Are you going to have what about when heavy stuff happens? Like, how are you going to be buried when you pass or when you get sick? What is your, you have to go beyond the initial extension, because if you're going to start bending for what you feel are like your top 5 core values, then you might as well bend for everything else. But typically, I think that's where people go wrong. In my humble opinion, they're bending where they should be firm. You have to be firm in those areas. Now, that doesn't mean that people don't change. People do change. And what you are, when you first get together with someone and who you are 16 years later is going to be different. than the beginning. But you are less likely to fight certain battles if you believe a person when they tell you the first time what they want and what they don't want. It's now, if you're just going in there and you're just looking to have a couple of dates and have a little fun and whatnot, then hey, you know, you do you. But if you're serious about marriage and commitment and fidelity, and then you say that to someone and everything that they tell you is like the opposite of what you're into, but you're just in love with what they look like, or you're in love with their bank account, or you're in love with their style, or you're in love with their friend group, or maybe you fell in love with their kid, all of that is a no. You're not in love with the person. You're in love with the aesthetic that comes with the person. And that's a no-no. Don't fall in love with aesthetics. Aesthetics can change. Aesthetics can change. It's just true. That's why you have to actually be in love with a person and like with the person, and know that things can go up and down. Oh, I kind of got a little bit off, but I'm going to say this. If you are looking to find someone, dating online, I'm a firm believer that dating online is the same as dating in person. There is no difference. You have to still ask the same questions. You still have to vet the person to ensure that they are telling the truth. You have to be discerning, and you have to look past the exterior to what is most important to you. Now, if exterior and looks are the only thing that's important to you, if you know, very superficial, just very 1 inch deep type of situation, then hey, whatever floats your boat. But if you're looking for a long-term grounded relationship with someone, then you have to get past the superficial stuff and really get into the seriousness of what it means to be in a relationship, and the type of relationship that you want, and have those conversations. So the style of, I think I said this earlier, but the style that we met under, the style of online, it was an app, but it was also it was like not on the phone. It was mainly on the web, and it was you message the person messaged back type of situation. And then if you wanted to get to know the person more, you would share your information. Here's some things to stay away from when you're dating online. Sharing too much information up front, because you really don't know who that other person is on the other side of the thing. That, you don't know people in real life either. But I actually think that dating online is like a safeguard to putting too much out there, as long as you're using it that way, right? So do not give a person your full address. Like, you shouldn't be meeting, if you decide to meet the person for the first time, do not do it at your house. Do not do it alone. Do not do it without having some safeguards in place, so that you know that you're actually meeting the person that you're think you're meeting. One, you have to trust but verify everything. Trust but verify. And if a person's really telling the truth, they should be willing to let you trust but verify. And again, it depends on what type of relationship you're trying to have. Go beyond the superficial. Go beyond the superficial. You cannot hang your hat on everything about attraction and how a person looks, because that'll lead you down the wrong road every single time. Be honest. Be upfront. Be straightforward. I don't know how many ways I can say the same thing because it'll save you time. Excuse me, my back is itching. It'll save you so much time. I mean, that's also the great thing about being on the internet. If you're honest, straightforward, and upfront, you can just just like that, and go past. You can just go past and not have any of your feelings or emotions caught up in the process. Stay away from the whole soulmate vibes. I would, yeah, no, okay? It's just not that. It's lifetime love and commitment is more than vibes. Vibes are great, vibes are good, but it's more than vibes. And you have to know that, and you have to understand it, and you have to be willing to accept that. You gotta have more than just vibes, okay? How to deal with rejection, because I did meet other people prior to, I met other people online prior to my husband. Sometimes rejection is mutual, like you just both have an understanding that this is not going to work, and sometimes it's not, like someone rejects you for whatever reason. I'd say just move on and take it as a blessing that the person is willing to acknowledge what they don't want right off the top, instead of stringing you along and hanging on to it. And you as well, just say what it is. I don't believe in ghosting. I think that's rude, unless the person is really disgusting. Like some people you have to ghost because they're degenerate, and they're not taking no for an answer. So that's fine. But if a person is just kind, or, you know, like you're just not feeling them, then just say you're just not feeling them. Like nicely, be like, hey, look, I don't think this is gonna work out for whatever reason. If you want to give a reason, you really don't have to offer a reason. You could just say, hey, I don't think this is going to work out, you know, and move on, right? And that's fine. Rejection is a part of dating, whether it's online or in person. I think it hurts less online because you may not have even met that person to that point than in person. But whatever it is, don't take the rejection. If you are rejected, or you are the person doing the rejecting, excuse me, don't take it personally. It's not, you guys, it's not, the older you get, the more you realize it wasn't that deep. Really, it wasn't. You just didn't have a connection that you needed. So you take it on the chin and you move on. Because you're looking to find the person that you have a connection with, not this one, you can't put all your eggs there. Like you were looking to find a person that you could really value, and that values you, and accept all of your quirkiness, and accepts all of your charm and your warmth, and the good and the bad, you know, without exception, without trying to change you, all those different things. You want that in your life. You want the person who doesn't want to change you, and you don't want to have to change a person, right? You want to be able to accept them for who they are. And the best way to do that is to move on the moment you find something that does not suit you. Like you don't think you could deal with it. Now, I'm not saying be picky though. Some of y'all are just really picky. Like you are picky, like you pick your food, okay? That's not gonna be helpful for you. When dating online, it is so easy to be picky online. You can just find any reason, then swipe and move on. It is very easy. But you are less likely to meet the person if you're terribly picky. Like they have one eyebrow higher than the other. I don't know. That's aesthetics. Like I really hope that you all are not out there finding a reason to dismiss people for other reasons. And if that's the case, you might want to go to therapy to see why it is you're doing that. Also, if you find yourself always picking the wrong type of person, again, therapy is helpful, because at some point It's not them, it's you, because you keep picking the same type of person. And you have to understand that they're not finding you, you're finding them too, right? And so whatever is going on inward has to be adjusted to fix what you're attracting outward. That's probably another conversation for a whole another day, but particularly online, I would say that it is far easier for people to see every single red flag because it's right there in black and white. They usually have all their interests listed, and you're sitting there and you're reading it, and unless they're lying to you, they have told you everything that they're into. So if you choose to ignore it, then the problem is you, not them, because they told you the truth from the beginning. So watch out for that. Let's talk about I don't know about the whole green flag, red flag mindset thing. I hear about it a lot. And here's the thing. You know what's good for you and what isn't. I think people know ultimately what is good for them and what isn't. Just like you know 4 cups of ice cream are bad, and that we should have more greens in our life for salads and grains and fruits and vegetables. We know this. We know that you can't eat fast food every day. Make you gain weight, make you fat, make you have high blood pressure. We know this. We know that we have to drink water to stay hydrated because 70% of our body is water. It's necessary. There are things that we know. Once you get to a particular age, there are things that you know, and there are things that you should be avoiding. You know what they are. You've dated enough people. If I'm speaking to people in my age range, I'm 44. So if you're in your 40s, and I would expect if you're in your 30s and even in your late 20s, you know you have dated enough people by the time you got to your late 20s and your 30s that you know what to avoid. You know yourself a little bit more. You may not know yourself completely, but you have an understanding of the things that you fall for and the things that you need to avoid. At least you know what you should avoid. You know what it looks like, okay? So stop falling for it. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of tough love. Stop putting yourself in the situation that you know you should avoid. You know that woman is lying to you. You know that man has somebody else on the side. Your discernment has kicked up, and you can tell that something's not right, right? But then you continue to pursue it for whatever reason. Just stop. Okay, stop. You can stop. You can literally just say, hey, look, I don't think this is gonna work out, and move on to the next. Whether you met them online or whether you met them in person, okay? You do not have to pursue a relationship with a person out of niceness, out of politeness, or out of kindness. I free you from that. You do not have to see if there's something else. You can say no. I free you from the idea that you have to give somebody a chance. You do not. You can move on. You really can. I mean, your life is long, but it's also short. And you do not want to waste your time trying to figure out what the best parts of someone is when you already know that all the signs are there that you should not be with this person. Not necessarily because they're a bad person, not necessarily because you're a bad person, but because you've already figured out up until this point what does not work for you. Now, if you're just starting out and getting into the dating thing, then date. That's how you figure out what you don't like. You have to just go out there and date a lot, date different types of people, figure out what you don't like, so that by the time you get to your late 20s or early 30s or even your 40s, you are able to have a lot more discernment when it comes to picking, whether it's online or in person. Okay? So that is the show for today. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, share, and follow. And I invite you to come out to Wendy's Market in Quincy, Florida, 23 North Madison Street, and check out my art, which is behind me, and check out the art of others. We have several artists in this space, and we have events all the time. Go to wimbiasmarket.com and check out the events that we are having that are coming up. We're in October. We have a masquerade happening on the 31st. So you can RSVP and buy your tickets online, or you can come and check out. I prefer you order your tickets online. We also have an online shop where you can purchase. And if you have any questions, you can always call or email me. My email address is on the website. So I hope you're having a great day.